On the evening of October 17, 1989, the second deadliest earthquake in U.S. history ripped through Northern California. At 5:04 that evening, two geological plates broke loose deep underground, sending shockwaves radiating to the Earth's surface.
That momentary fracture released energy that rocked communities from the Oregon border to Southern California. But the epicenter, the point where the impact hit hardest, was just 8 miles north of Aptos, California.
It was Tuesday, warm Indian summer day. As Action News 8 at 5 went on the air, our attention and the nation's focused north on San Francisco in the World Series.
The Giants and A's. The Giants are down 2-0. And we're going to go to Dennis Lennon, the guy over my shoulder right now, with a live report from Candlestick Park. Dennis, what's up?
Lots up, Graham. First of all, I apologize for wearing green. I know you're a big Giants fan. That's what happens when you don't pack your own clothes. There are a lot of A's fans here at Candlestick.
But in the space of 15 seconds, the Earth and our attention shifted.
Second base, so the Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having a hurry.
Just misses the home run.
The jarring force of the quake knocked out electrical power over a wide area and knocked Action News 8 off the air for 2 minutes.
Okay, go ahead, Dave.
I'm Dave Gonzalez, live in the newsroom here at Action News 8. As you probably know, we just experienced a major quake here on the Central Coast, and we're still trying to get things together here ourselves. We understand that there is some damage in the Santa Cruz area, and just how bad that is, we're not really sure yet. As we say, the quake struck just a few minutes ago, and it is, let's see, it's almost 10 minutes after. It struck at about 5 minutes after 5 o'clock. And put us off the air here just temporarily. We're not sure. We're trying to find out right now exactly how strong the quake was and find out its epicenter. We have been scrambling around. Excuse me if I'm just a little bit out of breath. But the quake happened just a few minutes ago, and as I said, somewhere along the Central Coast. We understand the only report we have so far is that there is some structural damage to a building in the Santa Cruz area, and the reason we know that is because it is our own Santa Cruz Bureau there where...
It was a devastating earthquake. The enormity of the disaster was evident minutes later in the stunned looks of people wandering dazed through the streets. The Pacific Garden Mall in Santa Cruz seemed to be a war zone.
It's a disaster. All the way from San Francisco all the way down here.
People, move away, please.
East side.
There's lots of rubble everywhere.
Everybody, we need you to leave now.
Where's the fire?
Just all over the place. We've got house fires and problems down at the wharf, problems at the boardwalk and stuff like that.
What floor were you on?
And in Watsonville, where storefronts collapsed and houses were literally torn off their foundations, St. Patrick's Church, a city landmark, was damaged beyond repair. The earthquake's force injured many, and the destruction was enormous, as Joanne Merrigan reported.
In Watsonville, much of the damage was concentrated in the downtown area. In the dark of night, the destruction still apparent. Bricks and glass everywhere. The brick awning on top of this bakery collapsed, seriously injuring a woman and her son who were passing by in the street. Several makeshift clinics were set up in various parts of town. Dozens of people were treated, officials saying thankfully for mostly minor injuries. After nightfall, the concern was shelter.
Like Don said, open the shelters up, evaluating the situation, getting blankets to the shelters. Salvation Army is available for about 50 people. Working the EA Hall and a senior center for shelters.
Up to 7 fires were reported in the city due to broken gas lines. Fire burning this house to the ground.
We definitely have a lot of gas leaks. PG&E is involved at this point, and they're trying to catch up with them. The engine crews are out. They're handling a lot of the gas leaks, a lot of medical emergencies that are coming in.
As in other areas hit by the quake, drinking water is in short supply, as well as electricity. At daybreak, officials will reassess, count the injured, and make attempts to plan the road back to recovery.
And even where the earthquake seemed less devastating, the startled reactions we saw reflected fear.
Are you okay, Timmy?
I got a pretty good shock, I'll tell you
What
that.
did it feel like?
Nothing I ever felt before, I'll tell you that.
Kind of rocking and rolling.
Everything was rocking and rolling, tools were flying off the wall here. I just hope my kids are okay and everybody, I don't know.
Yeah, man. Well, you might want to try to call home. I don't know if the phones work.
All the phones are dead.
They're dead?
All the phones are dead.
The earthquake isolated much of our area, but the world knew of the quake's awesome force watching the same pictures we did of scenes of devastation in the Bay Area.
I understand we have some video of the bridge. There you can see that's a portion of the Bay Bridge right there in San Francisco. And as I mentioned before, it looks like there could have been some traffic on it. You see a couple of boats in the water beneath it. And of course, a lot of folks not too long before that happened were crossing that bridge on their way
Rush hour traffic.
Right. Rush hour traffic and on their way to Candlestick Park for the World Series, which is where our Dennis Lennon is right now. But what you're looking at is the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. A portion of it there, you can see probably a 30-foot span of the bridge. A portion of the bridge has collapsed.
In San Francisco, there are reports that some of the buildings in the south of Market District in San Francisco have collapsed. A major fire is flaring in the city. You can see it there on your screen. It looks like it's in the Marina District. It's casting a plume of smoke visible for miles. Hundreds of people. It's apparently a major natural gas fire, and it is in the Marina District there.
What you're looking at here is the east side of the Bay Bridge. This is the same video we showed you earlier, but this is the highway leading up and over the up to the bridge part itself. And as you can see, it looks as though there are several ripples in the road along every 30 feet or so. You look like a big ripple.
Looks like every section just kind of buckled there.
Yeah, and several sections, as you can see. Boy, that's some devastating stuff there.
While much of the country watched the Bay Area, we watched our local communities fighting their own devastation.
Ma'am, I know about the earthquake. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, the whole house fell down right across the street.
Okay. Centicom, I don't know whether you received the report. There's a large column of black smoke.
Disney Center.
Well, we got some gas coming out of a pipeline.
Gas coming out of the pipeline.
I live right exactly behind that house.
What did you see?
I saw nothing. All we felt was the earth and the house just moving. And then I came outside and everybody was yelling fire. There's a gas line going and everything, and then we left. I mean, how's your house doing? It's in shambles. It's unlivable.
That is a house in North Monterey County. Exactly where, we don't know, but that shows you some of the damage that is occurring here on the Central Coast. What you're looking at there, you see a North County Fire Department firefighter on the scene. We also told you earlier that there was a death in North Monterey County. We don't know whether the fire and this death are connected, but there is some damage throughout the Central Coast that, that is resulting in some deaths. CBS News, as I told you earlier, reported that someone died in that Bay Bridge collapse, and we told you that 6 people have died as a result of being crushed to death in their cars after part of an old 4-story building toppled.
They're evacuating most of Pajaro because of gas mains that are leaking.
Any injuries that you know of?
Yes, I think there's one dead person in one location. A water tank or a building fell on them. It was in the North County area here somewhere.
Okay. Are you guys going to be all right as far as water?
Well, I heard the Romas lost their water system. So far, I don't know that we have any down except Pajaro has a ruptured main.
In fact, water and sewage mains ruptured throughout the area, and crumbling highways, fallen bridges, and landslides turned short trips into nightmares.
What we're going to do now is try and keep you updated on what's happening out there as much as possible. We have just received the latest word about road conditions. You're looking at Highway 1 just outside of Moss Landing. As you can see, traffic is backed up for miles on Highway 1. I believe we're looking southbound there. Now, that is a split in the bridge, about 4 to 5 inch split in the bridge at Elkhorn Slough. As the graphic says there, Highway 1 at Elkhorn Slough. As you can see, traffic is proceeding over that split, but at a very, very slow rate right now. So if you have plans on going on Highway 1 at all this evening, do not. That's the best advice right now. Cancel them or go some sort of alternate route. Now, these are pictures of the road to Moss Landing State Beach. That is Jetty Road, as the graphic also says there. Jetty Road has split completely apart. Our photographer on the scene there, Frank Wolf, tells us, as you can plainly see, that the road there is completely impassable right now. It has about 60 feet of cracks in it, and no cars are allowed on that road right now.
What happened out here?
Well, we have a large crack running alongside the station, which took 3 cars with it. They're undrivable, which I guess wouldn't really matter anyways because the road is inaccessible. But so we're having several people camp out, probably on the dunes, because I'm not advising them to camp out on the road.
Again, stay off the highways. A lot of the roads around this area have suffered structural damage. Southbound 17 is closed at Scotts Valley. There are slides in the road. Highway 152, leaning power lines, but the road is still open. Pacheco Pass open. Highway 129 is closed. Green Valley Road, some cracks. Of course, they said the Moss Landing area, that there were some buckles in the road, and they were assessing any damage at the bridge there. We haven't heard the extent of that damage. So again, all you can do is once you get home, is stay there and assess the damage at your own home and make sure everything's okay.
And KSBW Santa Cruz Bureau still showed the effects of the shaker when Jan Stewart reported in live.
Where I believe Jan Stewart is standing by. Jan?
Hi, Margot. We are here in the Santa Cruz office of KSBW. You can see that there's still a mess here, and there's going to be a mess for a while, I think, in a lot of homes in Santa Cruz and Watsonville. People are a little stunned right now, afraid to even try to clean up, especially in the dark. It's sort of eerie as we drove around Santa Cruz tonight. There are scattered amounts of people around, but mostly it's just dark, and it's very scary because the electricity is out. This is a civic auditorium where one of 2 official Red Cross shelters is being set up. We were there earlier tonight. They tell me they expect as many as 300 people. They were just starting to filter in when we were here. I have been getting different information than you. I know that the Office of Emergency Services tells you there were 6 people that were confirmed dead. I talked to the public information officer for the city itself, and they say they only had 2 confirmed dead at this point. They did have dogs, canine dogs, that went through the rubble in the downtown area earlier tonight. They didn't find any other signs of people, but they don't guarantee that.
With the destruction spread over such a wide area, you helped us tell the story. A San Francisco tourist videotaped this dramatic and deadly moment when a car drove off the broken edge of the Bay Bridge.
Gosh! I believe we have a call now from...
And Action News 8 opened its phone lines. Viewers shared terrifying tales.
Gilroy, I was in Hollister at 5 o'clock when the quake hit, working out at a gymnasium there called Orvella's. The entire building, I understand, the front side of it is gone now, but when we were inside, we felt the plates actually underneath the floor moving in the base or foundation. We went charging out the front door. Bricks started flying and steel girders came down. The glass blasted out inward and outward. People were screaming in the streets, of course. There was a short time before the police arrived, but we did go around the backside to get someone out we thought was trapped inside the building. Fortunately, no one was injured, but